Carolina, Queen of Diwachen. This video is for you. I'm making it because you inspired me to create something that would be an example of a lesson I might teach. And I made a few videos, but I think this is the one because it encapsulates exactly what I need to teach someone so that they understand what they might connect in themselves and put into the world through themselves, while drawing upon the energy and ideas and teachings of all of our ancestors and all of our peers and all of our teachers in life, whether that's a religion or a inspirational quote or a song or a movie or whatever, art or expression of people is all that we have. We have artifacts, things that were made from people to inform us, but we also have others around us. And so this lesson is to take one's body from their own perspective in the world and their own position, wherever that might be. I know where you might be listening to this from, but you might be someone else. You might be not Carolina, but somebody who's seeing this video who's been shared with this information, and maybe there's a different perspective you hold, or maybe Carolina, you're in a different place in the world. I don't know, but I'm here in Vancouver right now. Hello. So why? What's the purpose of a lesson? It would be to take the state of the body from its starting point now, and to, through movement and breath, to arrive physically at a balance which might allow for the release of our programming, the routines which we ourselves have built so that we may exist in this world, in these bodies which each of us hold onto and control to whichever extent is possible. And as we must continue to breathe, we realize it is difficult to keep track of our attempt in this moment. To hold on to our concentration in this moment. This is where the work must be done. It's not that hard. It simply requires you to pay attention to a few things. First is that there will be jitter in the signal we send from our brain to our body when there is tension on the nerves. If we find that jitter, we can follow it till exhaustion. Until exhaustion, until failure, or until balance. Until it moves to a different place. I am allowing this movement to affect me and my behavior. I am allowing the programming to leave, but then I have to come back to a place where I'm now in the world again, and now I have to exert control so that I can normalize my breathing. Create a normal posture. Create an acceptable appearance. Because there are people around. Always. There's people around always. And so you have to look normal for everybody. Okay, good. So that is a example of release of the programming, and then the reapplication of the programming that we need to hold. Now I'm behaving normally again. I need to reacquaint myself, do some jumping around and get my breath to the right space. But so I've been doing a few things while I've been releasing. I've trained my body and my my vision and my balance to account for a few things. First of all, I'm straight to the lens that I'm using right here, and there's one point that I'm looking at, but I'm also looking beyond it to space, and there's a distance behind the camera. I also have the ability to look up, and I can look down, and I can swing my arms pretty freely from side to side. I want to be in a place where I can freely swing my arms everywhere, but I've got, some things behind me and everything. That's fine. But the idea is that alignment is important, because the only thing we have that's consistent is gravity, which pulls perfectly straight down, and we can take our bodies and we can move back and forth, and we can find pain and say, oh, I don't want that, and go to get away from it. And we find that as we do that, we're finding those jitters, those muscles that they don't want to experience that pain, but they're experiencing some sort of pain in your body. It's in your body, but it's also something that has been told from your body to your mind, hey, don't do that. And so our mind remembers, don't do that. That's our robot sort of activation, where like We're like, oh, don't do that, 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 don't do that. And then what are we able to do? Okay, well, we can work within this space, we tell ourselves. The mind says that. And the body now is like, cool, good, because we got hurt. We did. We got hurt. So we don't want to do that again. Nope. So our mind tells our body, don't do that again. No. And so we say, all right. And then we remember that. We remember that. But at some point we need to forget that. We need to forget that so that we can remember that point of balance that we used to hit when we didn't have to tell ourselves, don't do that. We can visualize it and we can experience it through story, we can. But to do it with the body, to really do it with the body, that's what you need to do. That's what a body needs to do. So we can go to the movies, we can hear songs in our ears without hearing it in our body. And it activates us in the brain, but the body needs to do it. We need to do it with the body. We need to do it with the breath. And we need to do it with focus, such that we do not lose track of what we are trying to achieve. So the mechanics of the body and gravity and balance is necessary to achieve the balance with the brain so that we can create the fully connected person, so that we may connect with all around us. Because if we are not able to be a fully connected person, then we have trouble connecting to our world. So there are tricks people use. So I'm going to tell you that all these cool things that we learn in religion, they're great tricks to bring the mind and the body into a state where we're releasing the programming of, hey, don't do that, and now building muscle strength and mental strength to become comfortable in the discomfort that we are going to experience as we move through the pain to achieve the balance necessary to become a fully activated person in the world. The tricks are, put your hands together. I like to align my seams. There are seams in the fingers, and if you align them one by one, visually with your eyes, like this, then you are activating your stereo vision while putting pressure and release on all of the parts of your fingers. And of course, this is a very familiar hand position that you've all seen. You've seen this. But as I do look at this camera lens, I see that there is a pair of these prayer hands, one in front of each of my stereo eyes, and I can move them like this and they change back and forth. You're not going to see that with the camera. You're going to see with your eyes when you do it in front of your eyeballs, and then you stare at something further away. You'll see two of them. Of course, you can focus on the fingers with your stereo eyes, and you will see two camera lenses if you're looking at a camera, or you will see two trees or two of whatever else is behind it. Of course, because the two stereo eyes are going to cross and create that vision. This is not a trick, but is simply a way to ask the question, am I in balance? And if you're not, you're gonna want to struggle and keep balance, because gravity is doing its job. It is, and it's gonna continue. And so your job is to find a way for your body to be comfortable at all these positions that you can create with your body, with gravity. And if you lean to the right with your head like this, your hips are going to want to come out to the left like this. And if you move your neck and head to the left like this, your hips are going to go out to the right like this. And if you move your arms this way, your shoulder is going to allow your head to come this way. And if you move your arms this way, your shoulder is going to allow your head to come this way. And as you do that, and if you're continuing to breathe, and if you are continuing to breathe through your mouth, like I am as I talk, you might also then incorporate the idea of breath into this balance. Take breath from all the places you can breathe from. There are many places that a person can breathe from. I'm adjusting my feet here. Make my heel bounce. And I move my jaw, my neck, my eyeballs around, because my shoulders need to get in there. My hips too, my knees, my ankles, balls of my feet. Oh man, I lose my balance there. Jump around. I'm creating a new sense of my own awareness of the straight line of gravity and balance, both vertically and front and back. And I recognize that I can go diagonally. I can hit the 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock. I can go around the clock. I can go the other way. I can incorporate the hands being supported by one another up into the air. I can look straight up without any sense that I'm going to lose my balance, because my fingers are connected, and having the left and right connected here is very important. I can push my knees apart or put them together. I can push my butt out or push my crotch forward. And as I do push my crotch forward, I can maintain a strange balance that I would not exhibit the behavior of in public, because it looks weird and crazy and strange. But this big stretch of the morning yawn might sound different if you have a lot of tension, and so we make strange sounds. When we make those strange sounds, we go, oh no, don't make those strange sounds. But normalizing the body and normalizing the breath, as we do here, by standing straight with my feet shoulder distance apart and wiggling them from time to time and looking and aligning and getting straight, and putting my arms out and looking at my arms and twisting my shoulders and getting all this movement that I can, so that I release all the tension in my elbows and my wrists and my fingers. We all have tension in our hands from using our phones, and twisting them around and using a technique which is just a change of balance, but it's opposite action. So if I'm doing this and I think to myself, okay, I don't know what to do next, what if I release it and try to slowly go the other way with real slow motion and tension to do the opposite action that I was doing until I find a place where I find that tension and I can really work on just that one spot and then move around. The whole idea is that I want to build breath, and the whole idea is I want to build a place where I have a moment of release from my normal stuff that I'm programming to do. Now that I have that looseness, now we can talk about expression of that breath. The expression of the breath is sometimes a way to stretch, and then sometimes the expression of the breath is a way to perform, to exhibit, to say, I am this way, I am free, or whatever. I just burped. Gas is in our system, and the gas in our system pushes on our airway and then on our lung, and as we build to a place where we want to build that strength in our core, to build strength in our diaphragm. One way to do that is to take our belt line, to move it up so that we release that belly muscle. The Buddha isn't fat. That idea of like the Buddha like statue where he's sitting, he's got that big belly. It's because his belly's full of air, and if that belly does have the ability to fill with air, that belly, because the belt line is higher than it, then you can release those muscles that we normally use to sort of make sure our pants don't fall down, or just make sure that we're keeping track of the fabric that's hitting it because our skin is aware of it. If we release that, then we can breathe in a different way and release that programming a little bit more. The other thing that I want to teach about tricks that we can use before we do this is that closing the eyes is super powerful, and it's the only way to release all of the muscles, and not just to close the eyes tight, but to allow them to close. To allow them to just simply stay closed, sometimes we need to go the opposite action and crunch them in. Sometimes to show love, we need to express anger and pain with our body in a way that's healthy and safe. And so if we are in a healthy and safe place, we can do the opposite actions that we normally do to help draw tension and reactivate the muscles that need to draw into balance to create a new normal for us, a new robotic state where we show love to everyone instead of a robotic state where we are protecting ourselves. So closing our eyes creates something where we release our vision from having to lock onto and look at everything, but we can now let our eyeballs roam freely, and as we do, we'll sense a new kind of alignment in our closed eye vision, and we will see color through our eyelids as we open and close our eyelids just a little bit to put pressure. And as we look up, not with our eyes open, but looking up with our eyes closed, looking down with our eyes closed, looking to the right, left, all around the clock, we can sense that there is some stretching in the eyeballs that's possible, that allows for the colors and the patterns which are now starting to appear because our eyes are shut tight, maybe. And we now start to see, not outside, but inside, a series of patterns of this color and light. And we start to recognize the possibilities of seeing the shapes of our retinas and our eyeballs without light hitting them, and we see the plates of the receptors making the patterns that they might make if they were trying to recognize faces or shapes or horizons or trees or mountains or seas or anything like that. As they these patterns of vision in our brain see nothing else but their own feedback, their own ideas. They start to create images, and as they create, not images, not creating images, but you start to recognize, like you see in clouds, like things, like shapes of stuff. And then at a certain point, if your breath is in a normal place, and you can continue to breathe like this, it doesn't really matter if your eyes start open or not a little bit, but you'll recognize that when the eyes start to flutter, but you're still looking up past them, that this is a familiar shape in imagery that you've seen in Buddhism, of the Buddha with his eyes, or her eyes, their eyes partially open. And this is a place of release. So this is not a trick, but simply what happens when we are exhausted from the imagery, or exhausted from opening our eyes, and we're like wanting to just stay in a place that's comfortable. You'll see that I'm moving back and forth. I must, because as my eyeballs do their releasing, I must account for gravity, and I can't do it with my eyeballs now, which I've been holding tension on. My eyeballs are now free to roam around. As I do that, I come upon little glitches and hitches that I recognize is part of things. And I also want to recognize that as I interlock my fingers and find that I don't know where to go now, there's a certain power in the release and the recalibration of balance. Suddenly a breath out is possible, and suddenly I'm in a place where anything is possible, and I'm finding the connection between my mind and my body, and I don't need to open my eyes to balance, because the body is finding its own balance without the need to have that visual awareness. My arms and muscles are all intertwining and all finding points of tension and pain, and working past them to get the release needed, so I can shift my balance the other way that I have not been balancing, because there's been pain there all along. But now with my eyes closed, I have the freedom to use my eyeballs to balance. And if I stop talking, I can continue into this rhythm, this set of waves where the body experiences the meridians of energy and the double spirals of balance between the left and the right, and the wings which open, and the shoulders which force the neck up and back into a single breath of wholeness. I can't do it on camera. I've never been able to do it on camera, because there's never been a way to make the video last that long. But you'll continue into that, and you'll find that place. But as you find that place, you might sing a song. As you're going through this whole process, you might sing a song. Maybe it's not a song that exists. Maybe it's a song that comes from you as you're simply just putting a little bit of tone in your breath every time you make a different movement. And it builds and builds and builds and builds until you get to a place of peak energy. But in any case, the idea of music healing the body is such that we hear our energy if we're paying attention to it, and if we align it to music, or if we find the music within us and express it and learn it, then we can train ourselves and train the body into a different program, so that we are expressing only love and experiencing only joy. And so I would encourage anybody listening to this to take their programming, their normal, and find a place in a moment, in a set of days, where they can be safe to experience their own internal experience of their body, to release the physical programming by moving all of the ways that can be moved, to balance out any pain, and to achieve as much power and subtlety in breath as can be achieved to simply be able to make some tones which vibrate the neck and the head to the degree where all the tiny little sharp edges of don't do that, don't do that, don't do that are melted away into tears of emotional expression, which enable the entire head and body to melt and then to reform, not into a different body, but into a different body of experience, because you're seeing it through a different set of senses, because they're heightened, because you're no longer trying to fight pain, you're trying to find out how to help other people. So yeah, is it going? Is it going? It's still going. So yeah, so any song would do. But now that I'm here, I guess I could sing a song. All right, so okay, so I'm gonna do the one that I guess I composed this to be used specifically for this. I'm gonna do this. So I recognize that I can draw breath from below or from above. I can sing from below or from above, but the middle is hard. So this is to link the top, which is easy, and the bottom, which is okay, to the middle, which is like more difficult. And so we're gonna try to release the tension by creating the visual line, doing the breathing, and putting the pressure on while closing the eyes and singing the song. And so here it goes. At some point I'm breathing in from my nose, not just through my mouth. In through the nose, out through the mouth is nice. However you can sometimes is great. Okay. So I'll start just with nothing. I've got a soul. I've got a soul. And I've got a song you ain't never heard before. I got $100 to my name. I got $100 to my name. Add all the zeros you want. I still feel the same until those thunder clouds roll, and down come that rain. But I've got a soul. I've got a soul, and I've got a soul you ain't never heard before. I got $100 to my name. I got $100 to my name. Add all the zeros you want, I'll still feel the same. Until those thunderclouds roll, and down come that down come that rain, 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 down come that rain. But I've got a soul. I've got a soul. And I've got a song you ain't never heard